This is Jeff Korhan. Welcome to jeffkorhan.com. We have a special guest today, Chris Brogan, New York Times bestselling author and the owner of Human Business Works, a media and education company. And today we're going to talk with Chris about Google+. Chris has written a new book, Google+ for Business, that came out just before the year turned into 2012. And I think he's going to talk to us a lot about why this is something that we can no longer ignore. There just are so many great things about Google+, but I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let him take it from here.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate that. Well, first off, as a small business owner myself, I'm in a slightly different space because the people who know how to find me know that I live on these kinds of social networks. So you have to discount a little bit what I say for how it's worked for me. But I will say that there's a lot of other small businesses taking advantage of it. And on the day that we're recording this, Google just announced that they're already up to 90 million users. And that is starting in July 2011 with a very limited field trial. They've already jumped to 90 million. Why you can't ignore it is that Google is a huge company with a ton of funding, and Facebook, who everyone points to as the place where we already just told you to go, they turned a profit of $4 billion in 2011 reporting, and Google turned a profit of $41 billion. So, or maybe it was revenue. I don't even think it's profit. I think that was revenue numbers. I'm sorry. So think about that. You know, there's times 10 magnitude of resource behind what Google can put into the social network. Now, Google's already tried to cut into small business before. They made Google Local. They have Google Places, and it's one of the things that we tend to recommend when setting up your presence on the web is you should fill out a Google Places profile so that people know what your hours are and your location and all that sort of thing. Well, this stuff merges awful soon with Google+. It's already almost there, but the work that you've put into doing things like that doesn't get lost now. So as you're thinking, should I or shouldn't I be on this network, just go through some facts. Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Google Places is something that small businesses are using Google Local to figure out and rank a little bit better for people being able to find you. Google just announced in search that they're using people-driven search, people-driven recommendations, so that the people you know suddenly matter to what comes in the search rankings, which is, Search Plus, I guess they're calling it, sort of off the, unofficially. The other, last and final thing is, as a small business owner, if you're trying to find people who are searching for you, and if 69% of all traffic starts at Google to try to find your site, why wouldn't you get involved in that network versus Facebook, which isn't even indexed or searched by Google beyond, the baseline of your page? So to me, Jeff, that's kind of the first part. Now, there's not a small business out there that's saying, what I really want to do is join another social network, but that's okay. I mean, you're not on AOL still, which is what we told you to do back in the late 80s. So, I mean, clearly you've got some space.
Right. Well, excellent. I mean, that's something that I have seen coming, and I'm sure many of us did. It was about a year ago that there seemed to be a great deal of emphasis on the Google profiles, where they were bringing together all of the RSS feeds, all of our social sharing. Of course, little did we know that they were already privately testing Google Plus at that point. So now, I mean, what small business, and especially a small business, doesn't want to have better visibility, to be more findable? I mean, that alone is a reason right there.
No, absolutely, Jeff. And it's stunning to me how many people, I don't really have time for this. And I say, oh, you don't have time to prospect for new buyers? That's weird. As a small business owner, I'm always looking to find more buyers. I mean, there's very few of us out there going, oh, please, I've got enough business. I'm all good for the next 5 years. And if you do have that problem, then you're probably not listening to you or me. So, we don't have to worry about that person.
Right. Well, you made an interesting comment, and I had not heard that statistic about the 90 million users. But when I was using Twitter, when it was new, I was having fun. I was enjoying the environment because there were not that many of us at that time. But I really didn't know what I was doing. Now we get into Google Plus, and this summer I had that same feeling that this is pretty cool, it's fun, I'm meeting some new people, but I still have that feeling today. Even with 90 million users, it feels very intimate. I mean, talk about the culture if you can a little bit.
Well, it is intimate still, and I will be the first to say that those 90 million users, a lot of them aren't especially active yet, but this is all following a trend that I saw. I got into Twitter in 2006, in the fall of 2006, I was 10,414th to the gate. And it really didn't take off to most people until 2009 or 2010. And so for me, it really was early days, but I really did see already this business opportunity. Well, in Google Plus, I see the same thing. Now, what's already going on there, it's not just nerd culture. You can go to findpeopleonplus.com, Plus.com, and you can put in the word farmer and see who lists their occupation as a farmer, and there's 1,385 of them last time I checked. It's amazing the opportunities that exist to connect with people like-minded, not just people in the tech space or the marketing space or whatever. There's a lot of musicians on there, tons of photographers, tons of art people. DC and Marvel Comics both have tons of people on there from their comic companies. And there's a lot of small businesses. My friends at Allure Home Improvement are very active on Google Plus just because they followed my lead and we know each other. There's real estate professionals that are showing off their locale. There's lawyers talking about what they do besides law, and there's just all kinds of people trying to build a network and communicate ahead of the massive influx back. When it becomes a little harder to get seen in the noise.
Right. Well, and this is kind of interesting to me. I see not a lot, but a degree of what I would call selling on Facebook. I don't get that sense on Google Plus. It seems to be more sharing, even though it would be very easy to be in that mode if you so desired. But what I want to get to is a question that comes up a lot. People ask me, I've got a presence already on Google Plus. Do I really need to set up a business page?
I've been cautioning people I've been telling them not to do it. And one of the reasons is it's early days. Yes, if you want to sort of squat on a particular brand or something like that. Yes, if you just want to sort of be protected against it, but you're just not going to see a lot of traffic yet to that business page. It's just too early. And if really big companies like PepsiCo and Ford Motor Company and all that are still a little slow at finding people to circle their page and give them any kind of volume, what shot do you have? Are you, if you think you're more viral than Pepsi or something, then bless your heart. But I would say that in early days, work on the personal account. Have the business account if you want, but put your lion's share of your work into the personal one, because we like to make relationships with people and then secondarily to brands. Right.
And I think that goes for any size company, but obviously especially a smaller business. Let's talk about tips. If somebody's just getting started, what are some of the things they should avoid, or the must things that they should be doing?
Well, first and foremost, Jeff, I'd say that what people tend to do a little incorrectly is they don't work on putting their profile together, so that when I hover over their name, I'll just see their name, or maybe the location where they said they're from. When you go on there and you look at your profile, in the employment section, whatever's listed as your current, whatever you put in that as occupation is what people are going to see if they hover their mouse over your name. And if there's nothing there, then it looks around to try to find anything to say about you. So what I do is I try to put a little information on how you would do business with me, so that when you hover over my name on Google Plus, you see what exactly might you do with me. That's the first tip I have. The second is, fill out that profile even more to show people how to connect with you and in what ways they might do business with you. No matter what your business is, you need to show them how to contact you. And there's a little thingy that lets you say send message via email. That's great. There's one that says share a message with you on there. That's great. But also put a link to your website or your contact form and your phone number. I mean, don't forget the basics. Small business people, especially, the web is a wonderful thing, but all the people telling you that that's the only way someone wants to contact, no, plain old phone numbers work great too. So put your business number up. Finally, as with all of these new media, the social media and the networks, don't make it so much about you. Make it about your buyer. Make your buyer the hero. And I mean, talk about the kinds of people who are part of your world. Talk about the things that are interesting to them. And just tangentially your product. Don't make your product or your service the biggest part of the conversation, because people don't want that. They want to be the hero. They don't want to be sold into.
Right, absolutely. Well, and the hover card was one that I don't know if I think I did pick that up from you, but I mean, not everything I guess is intuitive. I don't know why, but I never hovered over my name, so I had no idea that it just had my business name, which doesn't mean anything. But actually going to that employment section was key. I think you've mentioned in an earlier post about really getting some links into that page, that profile page, and obviously the contact information. In fact, you shared something that I shared a day or two ago, and there was a string of comments, and the guy said, "Sure, Jeff, I'd love you to help me out on this," but I looked, there was no contact information on his profile, so I had to ask him for an email.
See how that works? And I see it all the time, and I'll see that same person saying, you know, I can't believe the economy is so tough and everything's not working so well, and I'm just thinking, well, I can't believe your site isn't set up to land you a sale, but what do we know?
Sure. Let's see. I know you have some online resources in addition that links from the book, or how does that work?
So if you go to chrisbrogan.com/G+, book, it talks a little bit about the book. I also write on the first page of chrisbrogan.com. If you click, there's a thing about Google Plus that gives a video that's like a 1-hour webinar that you can just have for free and enjoy it. I would say that those are the first and easy of the freebies. And then when you buy the book, there's actually a page that I haven't done much with yet, but that is going to have secret information on it that you can only have if you bought the book, because there's a little code in the back to let you in. And I haven't updated that yet, but it's a forthcoming with sort of updates that Q Publishing has allowed me to put in there in between editions of the book. So that should be some sort of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. You actually have done so many resources, I couldn't actually keep them all straight on where to go, but I do remember getting the code. I've got both the Kindle version and the hard copy. So
well, thanks, Jeff.
I think either way you can find your way there. I don't want to tie up too much of your time, but I know you're very big on just whatever you want to wrap up with. But would that be video? Would it be? What do you think is kind of one of the really powerful things that you can be using with Google Plus?
Well, I mean, interestingly, just yesterday, I guess, around the time of this recording anyway, Google I put a video out a couple days ago saying I wish Google would let me just record a video right from the update in Google Plus, and then they did 2 days later. And I'm sure I had nothing to do with that, but it was just funny timing. But I really thought, wow, this is great, because it saves the video onto your YouTube. It allows you to make a really quick, fast video update. And so think about this as a small business. There's so many ways you can use this. You can use this for the most frequently asked questions. Think about putting out a little series of that. Getting started with your new whatever is a great one. The 5 things people tend to ask us once they leave the showroom. There's all these things that are really recurring information that makes for great, easy video to shoot. It could be just talking head stuff like Jeff and I are doing right now. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be all that fancy. And I think that's something. But in 2012, I mean, one of the things is we are all acquiring smart devices. We have new smartphones. We have new tablets. And when I say all, I don't mean just the nerds. I mean, you see it all over the place. Everyone's got a new Nook or a Kindle Fire or their first iPhone or whatever. They're looking for things to consume. And so if you can make interesting information instead of advertisements, you win. Because they're willing to suck it into their little fan if it's something that's interesting and useful to them.
Right. Well, we call this content marketing, and I think that's a term that not everybody is comfortable with, but it's basically, why does the web exist? People want to find things, and Google Plus leads you right to it in a personalized way.
Yeah, and when you talk about content marketing, there's where is it? I'm trying to remember. There's Budweiser, the beer company, has a new reality show coming out. The Big Time, I think it's called. And I think it's at thebigtime.com. But this is Budweiser beer. This is not Entrepreneur Magazine. This isn't, a TV network. This is Budweiser beer making a show. This is like Back to the Future, Jeff. The 1950s, Gillette sponsored products and, sponsored shows, and Camel had the such and such hour, right? I think we're coming back to that. I think that, brands are going to want that kind of content, and I think even a small business should start thinking that way. Don't wait for Extreme Home Makeover to make your own version of that show. Think of, how could I make a show out of what I sell or offer, and how can I keep that interesting? And I know it's not most businesses' forte, but if you do it in earnest, if you do it just with love in your heart, it's going to come out better than some of the pro stuff anyway.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you have to get in there and just kind of get comfortable with this and play around with it. I want to just make sure I'm clear about your video, because I did see that today. So you were posting an update, and is that how that video was created?
Yes, so you can go right to Google Plus now, and if you say, I want to post an update, it gives you options. Do you just want to type in some text? Do you want to add a photo, add a link, or whatever? If you click on the video one, there is now a new fourth option that says record a video. You click that, and it throws a little window up, and you push, and it goes, and you're recording, and it's perfect and easy. And so it actually solves a problem that Chromebook was having. People who have bought the Chromebook laptops, which are $400 laptops that basically just run the Google Chrome browser, didn't quite have the best video recording tool built in, and now they do. It's just built right into Google+.
Wow, excellent. Oh, and I'm going to try that. Well, hey, I know we're almost out of time here, so I'll let you wrap up. Any parting thoughts or comments?
The only thing I want to say is, thanks for your time, Jeff, and I hope that the people that are in part of your community find some value in it, and don't be afraid of it. Just dig in a little bit at a time and see what works, and feel free to look over my shoulder every now and again. I share tips as I find them.
Best way to learn. Thanks again, Chris Brogan.
Appreciate it. Thanks.